Hello, I am a 36-year-old man, and I have been together with my girlfriend, who is a 33-year-old woman, for over 2 years. She has been living with me in my apartment for a year and a half now. She was a professional tennis player in her younger years, and recently she decided to start coaching full-time. Our relationship over the last year has been a bit shaky due to both of us getting laid off from our jobs in the tech industry. I have been dealing with my own issues and became a bit distant. Intimacy was lacking for a while. However, in the last couple of months, things have started to improve. Also, we don't really fight almost ever. Communication-wise, we have a pretty solid relationship, and we understand each other. In the past, we have discussed kids and marriage. I know her family well, and she knows mine. We have traveled twice to Spain to meet them. So, long story short, it's serious. But we have had some bumps along the way. She has many clients who are part of a tennis club where she coaches. She started coaching this particular man, who is a 47-year-old chief executive officer, about 3 to 4 months ago. He is quite rich, outgoing, and good-looking. He is completely devoted to tennis and began taking lessons from her twice a week. He asked her if they could participate in a doubles tournament together, and that is when I found out about him because I attended the tournament to watch and support her. In the end, they won, mostly due to her skill. She is really very good. During the celebration, he hugged her a lot, lifted her up, and gave her kisses on the cheek. When I saw this, I thought it was a bit much, but I figured he was just excited about their victory. At this point, I didn't think much of it. A few days later, I learned that he had gifted her a €200 tennis racket as a token of appreciation for the win, since she did most of the heavy lifting, with him being a less experienced tennis player compared to her. At this point I thought, what? That's strange, but I still didn't dwell on it. A few weeks later, my girlfriend entered the biggest national tennis tournament in our country, which is a small country in Europe. She almost won. She played about 6 matches over the course of 3 days, and the man was there supporting her for every single match. One day, he was there for 8 hours. At this point, I already sensed something was off, so at home, I asked her about this man and what his intentions were. My girlfriend said, "Yeah, I don't know, I guess he likes me," and I replied, "Yeah, it kind of shows." Then she told me that this man offered to sponsor her if she wanted to pursue international tournaments again, as he had noticed how talented she is. This sponsorship would include travel arrangements, individual coaching with a professional coach, tournament fees, and absolutely everything, since tennis can be quite expensive. This is when I got angry, because it seemed obvious to me that he likes her and is making a major power play. She even told me that she was considering it. I told her that if she accepted the offer, I would be done with her. This was a difficult conversation, and it lasted for a few days. We then kind of forgot about it. I trusted that she would handle the situation. A month later, meaning just a few days ago, she told me that she was doing a doubles tournament in another city. When I asked her who her partner was, she told me it was the rich man. The city is a 2-hour drive from where we live, and the tournament would last 2 days. I obviously became enraged and started confronting her again, asking her questions. I learned that he had given her roses a week prior and other smaller gifts. Yet she continued to say that she was still considering his sponsorship offer. At this point, I exploded and explained the power play to her, but she seemed indifferent because for her, it is a big deal to be able to compete internationally again. She hadn't really considered how this man might be trying to control her by doing this. At that point, it became very clear to her that he was pursuing her romantically, which indicated to me that she didn't care about me or our relationship. I told her that I wanted to break up and that she should move out of my apartment. We have continued to communicate over the past 3 days, and I took back what I said about breaking up. She said she wants to be with me. She agreed that yes, she feels special when he is nice to her, and she even threw away the roses he gave her. She didn't take them home. However, she only told me about it a week later because I asked if he had given her flowers. Anyway, now we are in a phase of trying to figure this out. I told her to eliminate him from her life completely, no more lessons or tournaments. That is the only way we can continue. However, I still feel like she has betrayed me, and I have lost some respect for her. I am not sure if I am making the right decision by continuing with this instead of standing my ground and telling her to leave. Deep down, I do want to fix this, and I believe she does too. Should I end things or continue the relationship? I'm seeking any advice on what I should do. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I think she will be happier getting to live out her international tennis player fantasy with a rich benefactor, and you will be happier without a materialistic parasite who doesn't respect you and whose fidelity is to the highest bidder. You're not married, so there's really no reason to work on this. Comment 2. Just leave, man. They are going to have intimacy, but he is not going to commit, and she is going to want you back. Don't take her back. You still have time to meet someone else who isn't going to emotionally cheat on you like your girlfriend is doing. Now for the update. 3 days after that big fight, and I'm still here, just trying to get by. I mean, I haven't moved out yet. Not like I was going to, but still, you get it. My girlfriend is still here, but we might as well be living with 2 elephants because no one's talking. Well, I guess she's talking a lot on her phone. I mean, more than usual. She gets these messages from the CEO, and it's like she's got this little glow every time her phone buzzes. I know I shouldn't be snooping, but when you see someone smiling at their phone 20 times a day, it makes you a little curious. I'm not crazy. I'm not going to read her texts. I mean, I totally would if I could, but I'm not insane. Anyway, one night we were watching TV, and I overheard her on the phone. She was talking to someone in a really hushed voice. Like, if I wasn't home, I don't think she would have noticed that she was talking. I didn't want to be all creepster, so I tried to act all cool and casual, but I'm sure I looked like one of those dogs straining to hear a squirrel. When she hung up, I asked who it was, and she just said it was a friend. So, yeah, all good, right? I totally believe her. That weekend, my parents invited us over for dinner. You know how parents get all excited when you bring home a significant other? My mom was like, "Oh, she's so lovely. She's so great. She's so wonderful." And I'm like, "Yeah, Mom, I know, I get it." During dinner, my mom starts talking about this upcoming family trip, and she's joking about everyone bringing plus ones. Like, haha, aren't you two in love? Bring your girlfriend. So cute. My girlfriend laughed, but then she said she might be busy with training and tournaments. My sister, who's studying sports management, was all like, "Oh my God, I love the CEO. He's so successful." And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, sis. I figured you already knew. It's not like it's a secret or anything." After dinner, I pulled my girlfriend aside. I wanted to talk about the CEO again. I told her, "Look, I know he's just a coach, but I'm not stupid. I know you're not interested in anything beyond that. I know you." She got all defensive and said he was just a coach. I asked her about the phone call she had, but she just brushed it off. It was nothing important. Totally nothing important. Later that week, I decided to check her social media. I know, bad idea, but I had to do something. She had all these photos from a recent tournament, and in one of them, she's laughing, and the CEO has his arm around her. Yeah, that's not intimate at all. The next day, she mentioned going to this tennis fundraiser hosted by the CEO. She said she needed a dress for the event, and I asked her if she'll be spending the night at the CEO's place afterward. She just laughed it off. The fundraiser was coming up, and I was having a hard time with the idea of her being there without me. Like, what if he tried something? So I decided to show up unexpectedly. I know, I'm basically a stalker. When I got there, I saw her laughing and taking pictures with the CEO. She was wearing a dress I suggested she buy, and I got so frustrated. She saw me, and her smile just faded. She rushed over, looking all shocked to see me. I asked why she didn't tell me I was coming, and she tried to explain herself. The CEO came over, all friendly, and was like, "Oh, hey, want to join us for drinks?" I just said no. The vibe was all off. She was trying to convince me to stay, and I felt like I was in some weird love triangle. It was uncomfortable, so I left. Later that night, I found this unopened envelope on the kitchen counter with the CEO's name on it. Inside was a contract for sponsorship with my girlfriend's signature. I was so angry. The next day, I had a plan. I contacted a friend who works in sports management. I found out about this CEO's past, like all these shady business practices. I gathered evidence, and I was ready to confront my girlfriend with it. At dinner, I laid it all out for her, showing how the CEO manipulated other people. I told her she needed to think about who she wanted in her life. The next day, I saw she had unfollowed the CEO on social media. Later, she called me and admitted she's reconsidering the sponsorship. I'm planning to attend the next tournament, ready to confront the CEO directly. Edit. The fundraiser was a few weeks ago, and my girlfriend did go through with the sponsorship offer. She said she wanted to keep her independence and didn't see the harm in it. I attended her next tournament, and after the match, I confronted the CEO. He acted all friendly, but I could tell he knew I wasn't happy. My girlfriend was shocked when I told her what happened that night. She realized how manipulative the CEO truly is, and she's now considering ending her sponsorship. Am I the idiot for considering an abortion without telling my husband? My period is about 2 weeks late, and I wanted to erase any doubt of pregnancy in my mind, so I peed on the stick. 3 minutes later, I find out I am positive. To give you all some context, we just had a baby boy who recently turned 1. I had to return to work earlier than the general length of a Canadian maternity leave, 1 year, due to financial issues. My husband works very long hours trying to provide for us, and I am often home alone with our dog and child. He takes 1 day off a week to be with us, but he is usually taking calls and writing emails on this day off. This is not something I am proud of, but I had been a smoker since I was 16. When I found out I was pregnant with my first, I wasn't smoking and continued that. However, as the child-rearing responsibilities, financial troubles, and household responsibilities have fallen on me, I have started smoking again due to the stress. Our families do not live close to us, and we do not have help. Everything is on us. We were definitely not trying to have a baby. We are both exhausted, and our intimacy lives are rather quiet. There could have only been one situation where I could have gotten pregnant since my last period. Anyways, I do not feel ready to have this baby, although my husband has said multiple times that he wants another one so that they are close in age. But he does reassure me that it is entirely up to me as to when we have our next one. I haven't told him yet, but I am considering an baby on a living. I feel strange doing one since I believe everything happens for a reason, but I feel like I'm not ready for this gift. I am leaning towards getting an baby on a living and not telling my husband to avoid hurting his feelings. My question is, have you had a similar situation? What did you do? And if you were my partner, how would you want me to approach the situation? Now for an update for anyone curious, I want to thank everyone for their opinion on this. I sometimes have a hard time trying to decide what to do in difficult situations, but I agree with most of you that an adult conversation needed to be had. I also agree that doing the baby on a living without discussing it with my husband would have been a betrayal of trust and terrible for our relationship. Last night, we sat down, and I told him I was pregnant. He instantly smiled, but I could see that he was anxious. I told him that it didn't feel like the right time for us to have this baby, and that I was leaning towards having an baby on a living due to our financial and mental load at the moment. He reassured me that it was entirely my choice and that he would support me with whatever I decide. I love this man. Monday morning, I will be calling my doctor to schedule a blood test to confirm I am in fact pregnant and an baby on a living. Thank you again, everyone, for your input. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Having an baby on a living and not telling your husband is your right, of course. But as a husband, I would consider it a betrayal, right up there with an affair. You can keep it a secret, or try to, but could you keep an affair a secret for the rest of your lives? I think you have to talk to him, and the sooner the better. Comment 2. If finances are tough, I would avoid having another child. Why take from the mouth of your first just to starve too? However, this is something you should mention to your husband. If you do this behind his back and he finds out, the lost trust will be a huge deal. Now, for the update, it's been 2 weeks since I last updated because life has been kinda crazy since I talked with my husband about the surprise pregnancy. I called my doctor and went in for a blood test to confirm everything. It's wild how a simple phone call can change your life so much. The doctor confirmed I was pregnant, which added more pressure to my already full plate. I scheduled an appointment to discuss options, including baby unaliving. I was a little nervous about what the doctor would say, but I knew I needed to hear all my options. My husband seemed supportive, but distracted afterward. I could tell he was in his own head about it all. We went to a family gathering at my parents' house for the weekend. It was supposed to be a fun family get-together, but it turned out to be more complicated than that. My brother Jake and his wife Rachel announced their pregnancy during dinner. Everyone was excited and clapping, which made my husband go quiet. I noticed he didn't join in on the congratulations, and that made me worried. My husband fidgeted and avoided eye contact when the question about our family planning came up. You could feel the tension in the air when my dad asked if we were planning on having more kids. After dinner, my dad suggested a family game night to lighten the mood. We played charades, and I tried my best to get everyone to laugh and have a good time. During the game, my husband made a joke about needing more space at home. Everyone laughed, but I could see his discomfort as he said it. I knew he was struggling with all of this, and I felt for him. Later that night, I found him on the porch staring at the stars. He looked lost in thought, and I didn't want to disturb him, so I let him be. The next day, I went to my appointment alone while he stayed home. I didn't want to pressure him into coming with me when he was already dealing with so much. The doctor laid out all my options clearly, which felt overwhelming. I tried to take it all in, but it was a lot to process. When I got home, my husband was waiting for me with a serious look. He asked me directly what I planned to do about the pregnancy. I could see the worry in his eyes, and it broke my heart. That night, we had dinner with my parents again, and the tension was thick. My mom brought up how excited she was for more grandchildren. I could see my husband's jaw clench when she said that, and I knew he was holding back his true feelings. After dinner, he pulled me aside and asked if I was really considering baby unaliving. I could hear the disappointment in his voice, and it made me feel even more torn about my decision. The next morning, I found a note from him that simply said, "I need space." He left for the day without saying where he was going. By evening, he came back, but I could tell something had changed. He seemed more distant and lost in thought. He said he needed to think about our future and what it meant for our family. I could feel the weight of his words, and I knew we had a long road ahead of us. Our conversation turned into a heated argument about our future plans. He finally said he wasn't sure if he could handle another child right now. It hurt to hear him say that, but I knew he was being honest about his feelings. We both have a lot to think about and figure out. Edit. Since the last update, my husband and I have had more discussions about our situation. He expressed his initial desire for another child, but now feels unsure due to our circumstances. We both know we need to address our financial situation before making any decisions about expanding our family. We've started looking into options for improving our finances, including updating my resume for a potential job change and exploring additional work hours for him. We're committed to discussing our options together, and I plan to see a counselor soon to help me navigate my feelings. We're still working together as a team. Am I the idiot for exposing my girlfriend's secrets at a family party and posting her photos online? I've been with my girlfriend for a year and a half. There's a lot of backstory to our relationship, but I'll try to keep it simple. We moved in together about 4 months into the relationship, and shortly after that, I got the news my mom was dying. She passed away back in September, and my life has felt very unstable since then. My girlfriend and I got very close through this, and I don't see our relationship as being easily disposable. But we've had lots of problems that have created a lot of distance between us. I was cheated on in a past relationship after a year of dating, so I don't trust easily, and I feel uncomfortable being vulnerable. My girlfriend has a lot of male friends, and she slept with several of them in the past. She says most of the friendships aren't important to her, but she refuses to quit talking to them. The funny thing is that I've never asked her to stop talking to anyone, but I've made it clear that it makes me uncomfortable when she's messaging these guys on Snapchat. Her best friend is a guy, and I've met him several times. He seems okay, and I never really had a problem with them being together alone because she assured me they never hooked up. But a few months ago, we got into a fight about her being sneaky to talk on the phone with another guy, and she let it slip that she had slept with her best friend many years ago. She lied to me for over a year about not sleeping with him, and it hurt to feel like I couldn't trust her. Her justification was that she didn't want to tell me because she knew it would affect the relationship and that there wasn't anything between them. We actually broke up shortly after that, and she moved back home for a few months. We decided to try again, and she came back 2 months ago. Things haven't been much better, and we still fight a lot, but we both are trying to work through things to save the relationship. She had to make a trip back home this weekend, and she mentioned that she's staying the night at her best friend's house, the one she slept with. His brother lives there too, so they aren't completely alone, but I'll admit that it still makes me uncomfortable. I'd feel better if I didn't know that she has no problem lying to me to avoid making me upset. I haven't said anything about how I'm feeling to her because I don't want to be controlling. She knows that I have trust issues, and she didn't even stop to have a conversation with me about staying there. I love her a lot, and I feel like a jerk for not being able to just trust and let it go. I don't want to throw our relationship away over my own insecurities, but I don't think I have it in me to sign up for a lifetime of feeling this way. If you were in my shoes, how would you move forward? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. So she basically keeps a group of ex-lovers lingering around her as best friends, laughing out loud. Dump her before you join the ranks and are introduced to the next person as a good friend I once hooked up with. Comment 2. You are telling her something makes you uncomfortable. It's not unreasonable for what she is doing to make you feel uncomfortable. She is doing it anyway. Does this sound like she really cares about you? Now for the update. I'm back with another update, and things are just as messed up as ever. A couple of weeks ago, I made a post about how my girlfriend was going to spend the night at her best friend's place, and I wasn't too thrilled about it. Well, things have only gotten worse since then. After that, I started noticing my girlfriend being really distant after she got back from that overnight stay, like so distant that I thought I was dating a ghost or something. Then I started hearing her phone buzzing like crazy with notifications at night. I asked her about it, and she just brushed it off, saying it was just group chats. I mean, come on, how many group chats are you in that are blowing up at 2 a.m.? Not long after this, we were at a family dinner when my younger sister mentioned seeing my girlfriend out with her best friend and his brother. This was a huge red flag for me because this brother has a history of flirting with my girlfriend, and she hasn't been the most innocent person in the past. I confronted her about it, and she acted like it was no big deal, saying it was all innocent. But I wasn't buying it. Things just got worse when I found out she had deleted messages from her phone. I asked her about it, and she insisted it was just old conversations and nothing important. But I felt like I was losing my mind. I decided that enough was enough and told her we needed to take a break to reflect on our relationship. She agreed, but then later accused me of being controlling. So typical. One night while she was out, I went through our shared space and found a flash drive labeled Memories. I know I shouldn't have, but my curiosity got the better of me, and I plugged it into my laptop. What I found was a ton of photos of her with various male friends, some from parties and some that were a lot more intimate. I saved the photos but didn't say anything to her about it right away. I wanted to think things through, you know? A few days later, we went to my parents' anniversary party together. She was invited, even after everything that had happened. During the party, I saw her laughing and being all touchy with my brother, and it just set me off. I confronted her, and she claimed it was all friendly. Yeah, right. So I decided to show her the photos I found on the flash drive. I pulled her aside and told her I had seen it. She got all defensive and said it was just harmless fun. I mean, really? In front of my family? It just made the whole thing so much worse. I then told her I had sent the photos to myself. She panicked, realizing that all the evidence was now on my phone. She tried to grab it out of my hand, and we made a scene right there at my parents' party. Family members had to step in, and my brother started defending her, which just made me more mad. I brought up her past lies, and she got so upset that she stormed out, saying she needed space. After the party, I got a ton of angry texts from her. I was so fed up with her crap that I decided to post the photos on social media. I know, not my finest moment. The next day, I got a lot of backlash for airing our private issues online. She tried to call me, but I ignored her. A week later, she showed up at my workplace, demanding we talk. I agreed, but only in public. During our meeting, she accused me of ruining her reputation. I calmly replied that her actions led to this, not me. She then made a huge mistake by showing me a video from the party of my brother and her getting cozy. She said it was just a friendly hug, but I wasn't having it. I told her I was done, and she started crying and begging for another chance. I felt bad, but honestly, I couldn't do it anymore. After she left, I sent her a message saying it was over, and she didn't take it well. She tried to call me and even texted my family to defend herself. My parents were mad at me for posting the photos online, but I just couldn't deal with my ex and her drama anymore. She made it clear she's not giving up on us, but I'm not sure if there's any chance of reconciliation. I'm just done with all the lies and the games. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Not sure if there's more to come though. Edit. The brother is her friend's older sibling. My ex and I had plenty of mutual friends, which is how they know each other. We were engaged but never got married. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.